Where's the dog at?
Dog's in it.
Alright.
Right there.
He was all with a lot of saliva.
Yeah.
And he was ventilating, like he wasn't able to breathe.
They come on and sir.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me stop here. Let me give commentary on this video. Okay, because that is the rules of YouTube, and I want to share this video within their rules. Okay, so I'm going to give my commentary throughout this video, and this story has gone viral. It surfaced, I think, 2 days ago at the most. I think at the most 2 days ago. And all of the stories or media outlets, they've published a news coverage, and pretty much all of them have tens of thousands of views. If you do a simple YouTube search of any of these words, I'll copy this: puppy with mouth taped shut from hot car, and just put it in your search engine. You'll see a lot of results. Okay, a lot of results. Okay, and okay, here are the top results right here. And as you can see, they all have tens of thousands of views. This was uploaded 1 day ago, 26,000 views. 2 days ago, 56,000 views. So only 2,000 views 2 days ago, 2,000. 182,000 views. This was uploaded 1 day ago. Just uploaded yesterday, already 182,000 views. Okay, and these others, and this one, 135,000 views. So it's going viral. And that was uploaded 1 day ago. So as you all know, the dog lovers are up in arms about this. They're throwing a fit. Now, let's start over with this video.
Where's the dog at?
Dog's in it.
Oh. So he sounds disappointed. He sounds disappointed, and he sounds very concerned about the dog. Where's the dog at? Where's the dog at? Where's our precious dog? The dog's over here. We got him over here. Where's the dog at? You see? He means business. He means business. Because this was a terrible act against the dog.
Where's the dog at?
Dog's in it.
Alright.
Right there.
He was all with a lot of saliva.
Yeah.
And he was ventilating, like he wasn't able to breathe.
Okay, so the officer looks like a dog lover. He's rubbing on the dog. Okay.
Come on, sir.
Here's
the owner of this vehicle?
Okay, let me shut up so y'all can hear the video.
Ventilating, like he wasn't able to breathe.
They come on, sir.
You the owner of this vehicle? The Mercedes? Alright. Turn around. Turn around. Put your hands behind your back. Palms together. Palms together. Don't interlock your fingers. Palms together. You have a Husky inside the vehicle?
Okay. So if you don't know, this guy left a dog inside of a Mercedes-Benz, a black Mercedes-Benz, with the windows rolled up, and he taped the dog's mouth shut. Now, I assume that he did that so no one would hear the dog barking, is my guess. He wanted to go in and make him some money.
Any weapons on you, sir? Any ID on you? Mary 23, one in custody. Over here. Back to my vehicle. Stand right here. Don't move. Have a seat. I'm going to jail on a felony, willful endangerment of an animal. You realize how hot it...
You heard what he said? Let me rewind that.
I'm going to jail on a felony, willful endangerment of an animal.
He said a felony. He said you're going to jail on a felony. Willful endangerment of an animal. That's what he said.
Felony, willful endangerment of an animal. You realize how hot it is outside? You have the vehicle off, windows up, and you had tape around your dog's mouth.
So this cop is angry. He's angry. He's upset. He's disgusted. He's disappointed. You know, he's saying the same things. Maybe, I suspect, he's saying the same thing in his mind a lot of people are saying in the comment section. What a filthy animal. He deserves to be locked in a hot car for a few hours. He should have been beaten and all this kind of stuff. Like I said, there are several media outlets did a story on it.
Shocking video released earlier today showing a 3-month-old puppy rescued.
Notice, now I don't know if this is actually a puppy, but when I think of a puppy, I think of something that's a very small dog. But this is their dog technicality that I really don't know nothing about. But they make a point. Most of them, some of them don't. They just say Husky. Some of them make a point to refer to the dog as a puppy, right? I'm just pointing that out.
Rescued from a hot car on the top floor of the Bellagio parking garage. Police say the dog was inside for nearly 2 hours with its mouth taped shut, while the animal's owner went inside to gamble. Sasha Loftus spoke with a local rescue group that wants to stop something like this from happening again. Sasha?
Denise, this happened here on the Strip back on July 20th. Now, the local rescue I spoke with say this kind of thing is really tough to see, and they want to encourage anyone struggling with a pet to surrender it safely.
Oh, so this kind of thing is tough to see. As if this kind of thing really hurts people's hearts. If there's one thing that really cause people to grieve, it's seeing stories like this. That's basically what she's saying.
Where's the dog at?
It's a startling video being shared across the country.
With a lot of saliva.
Security rescuing this 3-month-old puppy from a...
Okay. If this is a puppy only 3 months old, let me just say, they get quite large after 3 months, and they already look quite dangerous, well capable of mutilating an infant, of mutilating a toddler, like they do every day. Okay? Young dogs, so-called puppies, mutilate many of these infants that I reported on Many of these toddlers that I've reported on were mauled by puppies. The same cannot be said about those puppies. Dogs do not get locked in hot cars with their mouths taped shut nearly as often as children are attacked by dogs. It's a joke to even make the comparison. Just off the top of my head, I would imagine the ratio is like 100,000 to 1. And that's being conservative. More like 1,000,000 times to 1. Okay? And I have to point that out.
Hot car on the top floor of the Bellagio parking garage.
I think it's horrible.
Police say the animal had been locked inside for nearly 2 hours.
Y'all hear that? You hear how she strangely referred to it as an animal? People, that's by design. That is by design. There is a campaign. A part of their propaganda campaign is to project dogs as natural animals, knowing that they are not. They are not natural animals. Their goal is to project dogs as a product of nature when they refer to them as animals. I had to point that out. I always have to point that out.
Of the Bellagio parking garage.
Because I keep calling it a propaganda campaign. What proves that it's a propaganda campaign is that it continues to pop up on a consistent basis over and over and over again in the most odd ways. They'll start off referring to it as a dog and then, oh, animal. That is by design. It is because they know dogs are not true animals.
I think it's horrible.
Police say the animal had been locked inside for nearly 2 hours with its mouth taped shut. The high temperature that day, 113 degrees.
It's sad that people just, think that they can do stuff like that and get away. And
Denise Sear.
No. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that this is just a random type of thing that certain type of people think that they can do. I'm going to give this man the benefit of the doubt. The same way you all give dogs the benefit of the doubt, treating them as innocent until proven guilty, even after they've attacked someone. I'm going to say maybe this man had a moment of temporary insanity. Sort of like how you all say that dogs have a momentary, temporary insanity. If nobody's seen the dog act aggressive before the attack, that's exactly how you treat the case. The dog lives, it gets adopted out somewhere. Many times, the owner keeps the dog. So the same thing you do with the dogs, I'm going to do with this man. I'm going to say maybe he had a moment of temporary insanity. He blacked out. He was not himself. It sounds to me like he reached his limit. He is a human. And this is a story that, in my opinion, supports my argument that these people try to force an unnatural relationship and it backfires. Eventually, they get fed up because this is an unnatural relationship. The man owned a Mercedes-Benz. He was gambling. He clearly had money to take care of the dog. He's clearly been feeding it. So this dog has been enjoying free food and shelter for a few months. And maybe the dog was barking incessantly as he rode with the dog inside the car. You know, maybe the dog would not stop barking. This can drive people insane. The barking alone is good reason to ban dogs. It's been proven that this can drive you crazy. It takes a real toll on your mind and your nervous system. Incessant barking. And maybe he had to deal with that inside of his car, and it drove him crazy. So you know what he said? He said, I can't take this anymore. He snapped. He snapped, and he grabbed a roll of duct tape, taped the dog's mouth shut, and went to gamble. I'm going to assume that maybe that happened. Temporary insanity. No, we're going to treat humans like humans over here. While all of you media outlets, you treat humans like dogs and treat dogs like humans, we're going to do the exact opposite over here. Shout out to Mutt Free World in the super chat. Big shout out to you. My pleasure. We haven't heard from this man at all. So before I hear from him, I'm not going to make these assumptions that they're making.
Tells us this was devastating to see, especially since she has a dog of her own.
It was devastating to see, especially since she has a dog of her own. Oh, I'm devastated. Oh, that's dog abuse. These are the types of things that they're saying. Oh, it's so devastating. And it irks me how this is what causes them to be devastated. Not these videos that I make, these crazy stories, these dogs attacking babies, infants while they're in their sleep. That don't devastate none of them. You never hear these dog lovers coming out talking about how devastated they are. And you really don't see the reports of these attacks going viral like that. Not when it's a baby or child that's been attacked. Those videos really don't go viral like this story has gone viral. Have y'all noticed that? When it's just a raw news report of a child that's been mutilated or something, quite often those videos sometimes don't even have 100 views, people, after several days. Y'all know that. And it's the norm. At the most, they might have like 1,000, 2,000 views. It's very rare for them to go viral like this. And this dog wasn't even killed. The dog lived. And reports of babies being killed don't go viral like this. It's not even close. Again, it lets you know where their priorities are. See, there's no way they can wiggle out of this.
Put your hands behind your back.
Officers say 50-year-old Raul Carbajal, whose arrest was shown here, is facing a felony animal abuse charge. But local rescue groups like Southern Nevada Animal Rescue League want others to know this is never the answer.
They need us, and that's what we're here for.
They need us, huh? The dogs need us. You know, just so you all know, all you rescue your dog lovers, while you're all proud of yourself and your good deeds that you're doing, oh, the dog, we rescued a dog. Now he's alive and well, receiving medical attention. The dog is not even aware of your good deeds. Just keep that in mind. These dogs are not even aware that you've helped them. They're not aware that you saved them. They live in the moment. They have a memory of like 5 seconds, something ridiculous. What was it, like 5 minutes? They're impulsive. Live in the moment. They act based on instinct. They're not complex thinking creatures. They're not even aware of all your love that you have for them and all this passion, all this energy that you're wasting because the dog can't reciprocate it like humans can. It's not going to enhance all your love and energy. It's not going to enhance the dog's quality of life. It's not going to make it a more productive or evolved organism like it will for a human. Just so you know that, dog lovers, this is a complete waste of time, energy, and resources.
Managing Director Kaylee Campbell says no matter the situation, someone struggling with a pet can always surrender to a local rescue or shelter.
Oh, yeah, because they need us. Yeah, they need us to adopt them so that they can maul our babies, so they can decapitate our children, mutilate them, chop them up into small itty bitty pieces. That's what they need us for. To be dumb, adopt them so they can maul us, maybe our grandparents, start eating their bodies in the backyard. Yeah, a story a few days ago. And you see they're showing bully breeds. I bet you anything. If these people heard about, and I'm dead serious about this, a baby, if this had been a baby locked in a vehicle, I don't think the response would be the same. If y'all go through and read the comments, I mean, you can already imagine how passionate these people are in the comment section. And you just don't see this. When I show those videos of kids being killed, sometimes there's no comments. Even when there's like 1,000, 1,500 views, there are very few comments. On these videos, the comment section is flooded. It's viral. Like, I'm shocked at their reaction to this story of a case where the dog didn't even die. That's just too much. Now listen to this.
Even when we're full, we still try our very hardest to help so that they aren't in that kind of abusive situation.
Diana wants others to remember.
Okay. Abusive situation. You hear what she said? Saying this dog was in an abusive situation. So they're devastated overall over the abuse of dogs.
Our very hardest to help so that they aren't in that kind of abusive situation.
Diana wants others to remember any animal you get is a commitment.
See? Animal. We're talking about dogs. They always doing this. Animal, animal. You see that dog? Animal, animal. It's an animal. That's what they're doing. It's creepy. This is very creepy, man.
Diana wants others to remember any animal you get is a commitment, and she believes in harsher consequences for any kind of mistreatment.
I think the law should be stricter.
MGM Resorts released this statement thanking the guest who spotted the dog inside that car and notified the Bellagio security team to get him out. Now, Metro Police say that puppy is still at animal control receiving treatment. Now, as for Carbajal, he posted bail and is due back in court next week. Reporting live.
These people, they're acting like this is some type of national tragedy. Like this was some type of mass shooting. This is crazy.
You realize how hot it is outside? You had the vehicle off, windows up, and you had tape around your dog's mouth.
Shocking video shows the disturbing footage of the July Carbajal 20th incident, when they say 50-year-old Rahul Carbajal left his puppy inside the vehicle for nearly 2 hours as he went inside to gamble.
You have a Husky inside the vehicle?
It happened on the top floor of the Bellagio parking garage.
Man, he was on the top floor in a Mercedes Benz. Sound like this man had access to resources. He had some numbers in his account. So if the dog, had the dog lived, and that's a good chance the dog would have lived. He's probably done this before. Look, I'm just stating the facts. He's probably done this before, and the dog probably would have lived. Had the dog lived, the dog would have continued to live a life of a rent-free life with free food and free shelter for the rest of its life. It would have continued to be given something for nothing. The exact thing that they accuse people of, you know, when people want something for nothing, when they want to be given something that they haven't worked for, reparations, discussions like that, people on welfare, they've been come down on for decades. Welfare recipients, in general, in society, people look down on you as a human being for wanting something for nothing. And that defines the dog's existence. That's all they do. They're just given everything that they need to live for nothing. Not only do they not give us nothing, they are the only ones that attack us. And they don't only attack us, they even attack our children. They'll even attack our infants. So, y'all have to help me out, dog lovers. I'm having a hard time feeling bad after hearing this story. You know, it's just a situation with me. I report on dog attacks. And most of those involve babies. They're disturbing stories. Disturbing stories. I don't know how bad I've screwed up my mind. And I don't think I can fix it. It'll never go back to the way it was. Right? So I'm programmed a certain way. I've been traumatized by all the stories I've dealt with, by all the images I've seen. So excuse me personally for not feeling outraged and disgusted like everyone, like all the dog lovers are.
Employees there rescued the dog through the vehicle's sunroof.
Where's the dog at? Alright.
When recovering the animal, workers found tape covering its mouth.
You the owner of this vehicle? The Mercedes? Alright.
Okay. That's enough of that. That's enough of that. let's get back to dogs. Let's get back to dogs launching attacks on our youth. How about that? How about that? Let's get back to something that's really important. Because, look, the dog looks fine to me. Let's keep it real. Y'all saw the dog, right? The dog is not, it's fine, isn't it? It was in a hot car. It did have his mouth taped shut, but it looks fine now.
With a lot of saliva.
Yeah.
And he like detonating like.
Okay. She got a water bottle in her hand. So it's well hydrated. What's the outrage about? Okay, people, dog lovers, the dog is fine. Let it go. Now, move on over here to some more important stories. How about that? Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's change the direction of this live stream. I titled it, you know, this man taped it, but look, let's digress. I got more important stories to share. Okay? Now, this story surfaced yesterday. And of course, it has not gone viral. How much do you want to bet? Okay, look, let's see if there's any news reports on it. Just like I did the dog story, I copied the title and then I YouTubed it. Look at the views. These are the actual news reports of the story. 1.8 thousand views. 1.2 thousand views. See what I mean? And this is not one of them. This is not one. This was uploaded 4 years ago, and it's like a comedy short. See what I mean? See, stuff like this, it prevents me from feeling bad about a dog being locked in a hot car with his mouth taped shut and then being rescued from that hot car, having the tape removed, and being hydrated. The dog is not scarred for life. But how do you treat the story where a toddler is scarred for life? Y'all don't care. Y'all don't care. So the real lack of humanity is not in this man locking a dog in a car. That's not the true example of a lack of human decency. This is. Y'all silence how much y'all ignore stories like this. That's the true crime. Let's be real. But see, it takes more effort for you to care about human beings. At least I assume. I don't know what y'all's problem is. Y'all view it as too much of a task to care about people. But it's easy for you to care about something that's worthless. It's easier for you to care about something that doesn't even know that you care about it. That's where it gets disturbing. You dog lovers, do y'all see? Are y'all starting to understand why we're concerned about you? Why we feel like your presence should be called out? It should be categorized, examined, put under the microscope, and held up to scrutiny. I cannot break this down any clearer for you all. But it's at a dangerous level. The stupidity is at a dangerous level right now. Shout out to somebody in the super chat. My apologies. I missed the super chat. Big shout out to you. Big shout out to everybody who's able to join me for this live stream. I see a bunch of you in the building. Four-legged player, Kodiak, Danielle Reeves in the building. Shout out to everybody. Y'all see what I'm saying here? These people are outraged by the wrong things.
A 4-year-old boy was brutally attacked by a dog in Lakewood Ranch on Thursday morning. The dog's owner says he is shocked it happened. The attack happened at a home on Skipjack Loop. News Channel 8's Olivia Steen joins us now live from Manatee County with an update. Olivia.
Well, today I spoke with Eugene Lucero, the dog's owner, and he didn't want to go on camera, but he told me he feels terrible for Aiden Spencer and his family. After multiple surgeries and more than 24 stitches, Aiden is home recovered.
Multiple surgeries, 24 stitches. And let me just remind you all, the low views on these stories, and this is for the new people. Some of you, this might be the first time you're joining this live stream. The low views that you see on this news report and the other one about this story has nothing to do with this being a black child. When it is a white child, the views are just as low.
Covering after the tragic dog attack.
It's been very quiet. And I guess time will heal.
Sharifa Wright says her daughter was taking the 4-year-old to school Thursday morning when the dog from next door jumped on her son.
I heard screaming, "Mommy, mommy." So I ran outside and I see this big dog that I've never seen before in my life. And I see my neighbor, tugging the dog.
Aiden was rushed to the hospital.
Keep your dogs on a leash, especially if it's an aggressive dog.
According to the report from Manatee County Animal Service.
No, see, I haven't even heard that. That's the first time I heard that little clip. So I guess she made a TikTok video or a YouTube video or something.
Hospital.
Keep your dogs on a leash, especially if it's an aggressive dog.
According to
No. The answer is not to keep it on a leash. Most people can't. They can't control them when they're on a leash. No. That language, stop it. We're going to have to come back to this story. We're going to have to come back to this. Let's digress. Y'all going to cut that out. Y'all going to cut that crazy talk out right now. Let me show y'all something right now. We come back to this. I don't want to hear nothing about no leash. See, a lot of these nutters, they might try to respond to us, by improving leash laws and some goofy nonsense like that. Okay, let's deal with that right now. We'll get back to that story. Shout out to somebody. I can't remember who this was. Somebody I follow on Twitter who posted this story. Austin Animal Center. Look at this. They're trying to adopt this dog out. They want someone to adopt it, or else they're going to euthanize it. We've heard stories like this before. And of course, you see the deceptive writing. They start out with the dog's name, and they go through this sob story. So I'm going to skip over all the nonsense talking about how wonderful the dog is. And that's noteworthy. Talking about, but look at what they say about it. He cannot live in an apartment complex. They say anybody who wants to adopt it must have a specified management plan on how to keep it safely contained. They're trying to adopt this dog out. Listen to this language. A specified management plan to keep it contained. And then they say it cannot live in an apartment complex. If safe placement is not secured by August, we will euthanize it. It continues. Look at this. They say, last week you helped us find placement for another mutt. Now we need you to help us to place this mutt. They say it's incredibly cuddly and loves to snuggle with people. Listen to this. It generally walks well on a leash and is treat motivated. And just look at that face. Look at how they wrote that. Just look at that face. Yeah, it looked like a killer, like a child killer, like a devil, a demon. But anyways, they say, look at this. Here's what makes it hard for us to find him safe placement. And we're not going to sugarcoat it. This is from a shelter, people. This is coming from a shelter. They said we're not going to sugarcoat it. The dog is extremely dog reactive and self-harms when he can see or hear other dogs. So this dog can just hear other dogs, and they're saying it will go crazy. And they say it will self-harm. Look at what else they say. It has a bite history from people trying to intervene when he killed a small dog. So this dog, this mutt can just hear another dog, and it will go so crazy that it will attack you if you try to stop it from attacking that dog. People, nothing, no animal on this planet behaves like that. It's only dogs. And only dogs are mutants. These are not true animals. And you don't respond to the presence of these things by putting a rope around them. You get them out of the society. I don't want to hear nothing about no leash. Look at what else they said. Look at what they said. Look at this last sentence, people. The dog can scale fences, so he cannot be left unattended outside. It scales fences, so it cannot be left unattended outside. So you cannot ever, ever leave the dog's presence. Why? Because it can manipulate restraints and barriers. They all can. That's why they all should be banned. Not put on a long rope and walked around by most likely some puny idiot who couldn't control something far less powerful than a dog. Has been to the vet, behaviorist, and is on medication while he's in the shelter. Y'all see that? Do y'all know that they just told on themselves with that sentence? Again, they said the dog has been to a vet behaviorist for its behavior. And the vet put the dog on medication. And while the dog is at the shelter, they are saying they keep it medicated. Do y'all think this is the only dog they do that with? Y'all hear or remember all those stories from people who say the dog was fine at the shelter, and when we brought it home and it was there for a while, it snapped and turned into a whole different dog? See, this is why I can't feel sorry or feel bad when I hear stories like the dog that was locked in the car. I'm not telling people to go out and do that. I'm not suggesting that people do anything. I'm saying, hey, I'm not hit with sad feelings like you are, because I'm too saddened and bugged out, right? Creeped out by stories like this. What? You want somebody to adopt this mutt and you saying you keeping it drugged up? But they say, but the kennel environment is not humane for it. Well, guess what? It's not a human. So being in an inhumane environment is perfectly okay. It's not supposed to be in a humane environment. It's not a human. What are you talking about? The behaviorist recommends a home where it doesn't have to be walked or see or hear other dogs. I don't want to hear nothing about a creature like this needing to be put on a rope, on a little string. That is not the answer. The answer is to ban these things and drive them into complete extinction. Without a single doubt, bully breeds. If no other dog is driven into extinction, it needs to be bully breeds. All right, now let's continue with this.
The report from Manatee County Animal Services. Eugene Lucero left the animal with his in-laws in Lakewood Ranch.
See? Animal. That's by design, people. It's by design. They know these are not true animals.
County Animal Services. Eugene Lucero left the animal with his in-laws in Lakewood Ranch. Lucero told me he hasn't had issues with his dog being aggressive.
See, but then she switched and called it a dog. See how they do that interchangeably? It's so weird and revealing and telling. It's like you're telling on yourself. You're revealing your whole agenda. You think people are not going to catch on to that? Especially once they find out the dogs are, in fact, mutants and not natural animals. Then they hear your goofy language. You're telling on yourself.
Ranch. Lucero told me he hasn't had issues with his dog being aggressive. Aiden's aunt Shelly Coninger says there's only one solution.
I need this dog put down. That's what should happen to the dog. I want him down.
The dog is currently in a 10-day quarantine at Lucero's home. A rep from Manatee County Animal Services told me.
Now you heard her right there, right? You heard her, right? Now listen to this. Check this out.
Of their driveway.
I'm very upset.
Sharifa Wright was inside her Lakewood Ranch home Thursday when she heard screaming outside.
Mommy, mommy. So I ran outside and I see this big dog that I've never seen before in my life.
She says her neighbor managed to pull the dog off her son, but it was too late. She couldn't think. She just grabbed her son, hopped in the car, and rushed to the hospital.
My main concern was Aiden on his way to school, and this happens. It could have been worse. Come to find out, it's not actually their dog. They were actually dog sitting for someone.
Aiden now has 24 stitches in his face. As he begins to heal, Wright is left wondering what happens with the dog.
I have nothing, against animals. I'm not like that, but at the end of the day, this is my kid, and I'm pretty sure if it was anybody else's kid, the dog, like I said, I'm not a bad person, but I believe the dog should be euthanized.
You see how reluctant she was to say that the dog should be put down when she had the cameras and the news right there in her face? You see how she put it? You compare that to how she sounded in that other video. She was clearly at home on one of her little social media things where she was being open and honest. But when she got in front of the cameras, she felt the need to cater to the dog lover world. maybe a bit intimidated. She knows how people will view you. So she felt reluctant to say that the dog should be put down after the dog attempted to kill her son and left her son permanently scarred. That is what's inhumane. See, I'm too busy focused on inhumane behavior like this to feel anything. After hearing a story about a dog that was in a hot car for a little while, somebody opened the door and saved it. Okay. So, like I was saying, I got bigger fish to fry over here. This is crazy. She totally rephrased that, didn't she? Wow. Boy, this is very educational. Where'd that video go? I just had it. Yeah, here it is right here.
In Lakewood Ranch. Lucero told me he hasn't had issues with his dog being aggressive. Aiden's aunt, Shelly Coninger, says there's only one solution.
I need this dog put down. That's what should happen to the dog. I want him down.
The dog is currently...
Boy, wow. And then was walking on eggshells when she was right in front of the journalists. That tells you there's pressure and everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. That dogs are a protected class. You only act like that and have people react like that when they're dealing with a protected class. Dogs should not be a protected class when they are the only creatures in the country that mutilate children, babies. The only creatures that do that. And y'all want to pamper them and give them some type of special status. You people are sick. You're sick. None of your little goofy stories about a mutt somewhere looking sad and goofy is going to change that.
In a 10-day quarantine at Lucero's home, a rep from Manatee County Animal Services told me if the dog's rabies test is cleared, it can stay with the owner. According to local law, that's the only person who can choose if the dog will be put down. Lucero would not...
Only the owner can choose if the dog gets... Listen to that. Nothing happens to the owner. The boy was actually physically harmed. He was abused. He was permanently scarred. That man who locked that dog in the car was arrested and slapped with a felony and taken to jail immediately. A felony. But yet when a dog attacks, mutilates, permanently scars and injures a child, nothing happens. The owner still has the dog. The dog might not get put down. And nothing will happen to the dog if after their investigation they find out that no complaints were made about the dog. Oh, we talked to the mailman and we talked to the insurance company. We talked to the delivery guy, the UPS guy. They said they never saw any aggression. So you can keep your dog. Nothing's going to happen. We have the one bite law. Blah, blah, blah. That's the true inhumane behavior. Nutters. Yeah. And I hope you nutters see this video. I hope this video goes just as viral as all of those other videos. That's the goal. Because I want y'all to hear another side of this story. Just like that. We're dealing with too many crazy, inhumane, disgusting stories for us to be moved in any way by a story of a dog somewhere being hot with tape on its mouth and being rescued and given more free ice cold water, and the man providing it free food and shelter before he had a possible moment of temporary insanity, he gets hit with a felony, put in handcuffs, and taken away. No, there's something wrong with that picture. There is something wrong with that picture. All right, nutters. It's unfortunate that you all have gone so long without being called out on this nonsense. And I don't like selective outrage. But let's deal with that on a different stream. Right? Yeah, let's do that. I got too much I need to cover and try to put too much in one video. Shout out to everybody who's able to join me for this live stream. See a lot of familiar faces. Cat Lady in the building. And I will be live again a lot sooner than later. And I hope you all are able to join me for that live stream as well as we continue with this crusade.